Mr. Arnab Goswami, Founder, Chairman, and Editor-in-Chief of Republic Media Network, General Dushyant, DG Claus, Padma Bhushan Sri Baba Kalyani, Chairman of the Kalyani Group, General Manoj Pandey, former Chief of the Army Staff, Air Chief Marshal Bhaduria, former Air Chief, serving senior officers, our most respected veterans, esteemed panelists, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'm delighted to be here in your midst in this galaxy of senior officers, senior representatives, to share my views. I must thank the organizers for this most generous introduction that has been given for me. And I want to compliment the Republic Media Network for this initiative of Forces First. I'm conscious that there is a time overrun by about an hour, so I'll optimize 5 minutes and I will close down in about 15 minutes, and therefore I will stick to my script. It is indeed a matter of honor and a privilege for me to deliver this Republic Special Panel Address 1 of the seminar Living in the Era of Global Conflicts on the topic India's place in the rapidly changing world order. Now, we live in a time of multipolarity, contestation, and fragmentation, which is characterized by economic and technological reconfigurations. The established post-Cold War certainties are giving way to a more multipolar and complex world, defined by new power dynamics, technological acceleration, and profound global challenges. The metrics of power, victory, and truth are being upended. This makes the question of India's role in the new global order especially relevant. Over the next 15 minutes or so, I shall elaborate on just two issues. First is the geopolitical flux that defines the new world order. I will only keep to 8 pointers in this regard. And second, India's place in this emerging new world order. The dominant theme in the world order today is the strategic competition between the US and China. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1990, the US enjoyed a unipolar moment for almost 2 decades when it dominated the world economically, geopolitically, militarily, and technologically. The American unipolar movement is now declining. We see increasing multipolarity. Aspiring nations, regional blocs are asserting their influence. China has slowly but surely supplanted the United States' industrial and manufacturing predominance in both scale and pace. However, the US position on China remains unclear. While President Trump wishes to assert his influence on China, he finds his strategic choices hemmed in by trade, supply of rare earth elements, the huge manufacturing leverage enjoyed by China, and most significantly, the $730 billion worth of US Treasury bonds held by China. In the backdrop of the evolving relationship between US and China, other global relations are also evolving. Russia and China have made common cause against the US, but it will remain a transactional arrangement, a marriage of convenience, if you please. Because Russia will not accept a junior power status in this arrangement, while China, on the other hand, would want the relationship to reflect the extant power differential. Russia and the European Union had a chance to reimagine their relationship a few decades ago, but the European Union aligned with the US, which resulted in an adversarial position against Russia, which has brought things to a head today. Concomitant with the changes, that is strategic competition between the US and China, evolving global relation between other principles, we find that hyper-nationalism reigns supreme. The UK, a founder member of the European Union, is in Brexit mode, privileging its national interests over collective prosperity. Mr. Donald Trump came to office for his second term, riding on the promise to make America great again. There's also a coinciding rise of ultra-conservative leaders across the globe who are riding hyper-nationalism as their primary credo. In the evolving world order, we also find there are shifting alliances based on perceived national interests. Every nation strategically aligns based on their respective national interests at that point of time without prejudice to their earlier alliances. There is enough evidence to suggest national interest remains supreme, which has resulted in a phenomena of shifting alliances. In this evolving world order, we also find that the character of war is changing. This is exemplified by the Iran, Hezbollah, Hamas drone strikes on Israel, exemplifying the use of disruptive technologies while also demonstrating how non-state actors can influence global politics and destabilize regional balances overnight. Another pointer in the changing character war is the launching of a sensational 11-day war by Israel on Iran, targeting its top leadership and crippling its nuclear program, which was followed by a transcontinental strike by the United States in the form of Op Midnight Hammer. Although wars in the 21st century were predicted to be short, sharp, and intense, we find that the Ukraine war today has entered its 1,332nd day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also witnessing a breakdown of global institutions that were mandated to maintain and balance and harmony in the world. World peace-enabling organizations are unable to control the ongoing conflicts in the world. Organizations that were mandated to regulate trade disagreements find them at a loss to achieve their mandate. Closer in our regional neighborhood, we find an upheaval in the form of regime changes perpetrated by mass movements. Since May 22, almost our entire neighborhood has been convulsed by regime changes. Pakistan underwent riots in May 22. While popular movements dislodged governments in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and most recently in Nepal in September of 25. Myanmar, of course, is undergoing a period of serious civil strife since 2021. In all this upheaval, India stands tall as an inclusive, vibrant democracy, a stable nation with strong fundamentals and a trusted ally in the region. In the regional context of South Asia, there is the issue of China-Pakistan relationship that is increasingly being called into question. The China-Pakistan relationship is a most unnatural relationship, considering that the two countries are rooted in different political ideologies. They represent different ethnic, religious, cultural, and linguistic orientations. China is number 2 and Pakistan is number 40 in the nominal GDP rankings in the world. The $22.4 billion trade between the two countries is heavily skewed in favor of China, which accounts for $19.6 billion. Clearly, this is not a relationship of equals. Despite these evident divergences, there exists a strong relationship between the two countries today. The question that intrigues us is, who needs whom more? We can debate on both sides of the issue. However, the issue needs to be seen keeping the following pointers in mind. China perhaps relies on Pakistan for leveraging support from the Organization of Islamic Countries and the Arab world. China needs access to the Arabian Sea to mitigate its Malacca dilemma and secure her energy needs. Relationships with Pakistan also help address concerns in Xinjiang and security of the CPEC assets. I have just given 8 pointers on the evolving world order. I think the time has now come for me to refocus to see what is India's place in this evolving new world order. History bears testimony to the fact that India has done well whenever the world order has been in a flux. We gained independence as a result of global turbulence in the wake of the Second World War. After the Soviet Union imploded, we lost a strategic partner, yet 2 decades later, India was punching much above her weight. Today's world order thus offers us an opportunity that we must navigate with agility, with clarity, and with national interest. India is an ancient civilization, but one of the youngest democracies in the world. During the Cold War, we used the non-aligned movement to exist between 2 power blocs. Today, however, we are seeking to shape the space between the 2 power blocs. India is not confined to the binary of any set of relations, but is navigating an increasingly networked world while upholding national interests and universal principles with equal fervor. India's unique status is today contributed by strong standing across several domains. India has some significant strengths that we must leverage to be a global principle in the evolving world order. Some issues for consideration are: to start with, India has a huge demographic dividend. India is the most populous country since 2023, with a median age significantly lower than its peers. By 2047, India's population will peak at 1.6 billion and stabilize. What is most important is that these numbers are propelled by the confident foundational strength of our democracy. In 2024, 64.64 crore voters out of the registered 96.88 crore voters participated in the general elections, which were conducted to an accuracy of sigma 6x with an error percentage of 0.0038%. Second, India has economic resilience and growth momentum. India's nominal GDP stands at $4.19 trillion at market exchange rates, and number 4 in the world. We stand at number 3 in terms of purchasing power parity. The pace and scale of our growth is indeed inspiring. Of our 4 trillion economy, the first trillion came to us in 67 years. The second trillion came in 8 years. The third trillion came in 5 years. And the fourth trillion came in 5 years, despite the COVID-19 pandemic. The World Bank and others forecast India maintaining the fastest growth rates globally amongst large economies in the near term, at about 6.3%, even when global growth is muted. Another key strength is our services sector and digital strength. The services sector accounts for about 50% of India's GDP. Today, digitization is so entrenched in India that a citizen can open a bank account in less than 5 minutes. A MSME can get a loan in less than an hour, and a new company can register in less than 72 hours. Our startup ecosystem, fintech, digital payments, IT exports are globally competitive. We are ranked number 3 globally in unicorns and world number 2 in startups. India has a prime geostrategic location and a commanding presence in the maritime domain. India controls a central position in the Indian Ocean. We lie at the intersection of East, West, and Central Asia. Its maritime domain is vital because the sea lanes of communication in the Indian Ocean are amongst the most critical in the world, which account for 70% of the world container traffic, and 50% of the daily global oil consumption. If 1947 gave us political freedom, 2047 must signify India's emergence as a fully transformed nation, economically, socially, and strategically. By 2047, India should be a credible and confident great power, reflecting both civilizational stature and its economic heft across multiple domains: diplomacy, defense, climate, and normative leadership. We should strive for institutional roles, a permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council, leadership in institutional reforms, and shape the agenda in the global challenges such as climate, data integrity, and trade. As a global player, India will have to possess power projection capabilities in the Indian Ocean and potentially beyond. But we will have to ensure that this is achieved without overextension, because imperial overreach has been the bane of many aspiring powers. Strategic autonomy must remain central to our strategy. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the world is in a flux, illustrated by significant events that have altered the world order. Historically, India has done well when the world order has been in a flux. Today, we stand at a critical juncture, and India must leverage her strengths to be globally relevant. How India has leveraged her current position is vindicated by a few pointers. As tensions between the US and China intensify, India's strategic posturing as a stable democracy and growing economic power has enhanced our global relevance. Supply chain diversification and China Plus One strategy has driven manufacturing and investment opportunities towards India. India has balanced her foreign policy, maintaining strategic autonomy while deepening ties with major powers. India's growing role as a voice of the global South has further increased her diplomatic heft, as seen during her presidency of the G20. Economic resilience, technological innovation, and a young workforce have positioned it as a preferred partner in global trade, digital infrastructure, and green transitions. In essence, India has turned uncertainty into opportunity, leveraging geopolitical turbulence to expand her influence, secure strategic space, and strengthen its pathway towards becoming a leading global power. I wish to close my talk with the following few lines. Let us anchor our policies in data, but orient our ambitions in values. Let us build capacities now so that our strategic autonomy is real. Let us not merely adapt to the new world order, but help redesign the new world order. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.